to the Big Day Morning Show, and we've been telling you all morning long, our special guest, he is here, right here on the Big Day Morning Show. Let me tell you a little bit about him. This young man is the senior pastor of Washington Beltway Community Church. It is a multicultural church of small groups in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, and he is the CEO of Donaldson and Associates, LLC, which specializes in church consulting. Please welcome to the Big Day Morning Show, Dr. Michael A. Donaldson. Hey, what's going on, Doc?
Hey, all right. How you doing there, bro and sis? And all the radio listeners.
We're doing wonderful. Thank you. He has a brand new book out, and this book is called Express Lanes to Church Community, Small Groups, Big City. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Sure. The book was written for the urban church, specifically in mind, although it will work in smaller communities. It's an idea that takes larger cities, and because of the traffic congestion, for instance, Washington, D.C. is the most traffic congested city in the country, with 74 hours wasted every year just sitting in traffic. And I'm sure in Dallas and New York, Chicago, other cities around the world, the same problem exists.
Right.
So it's hard to commute to and from work and sometimes church, to be quite honest. Right. But the concept really is taking the church and breaking it down to small relational groups. In urban areas, we don't even know our next door neighbor. But by having smaller groups in the church and taking the church to the community in the streets, it makes it more accessible for people to attend that don't know the Lord Jesus Christ. So we hold our small groups. We have one block from the White House, one block from the United States Capitol, 2 blocks from the Supreme Court. And we try to put these groups along the transportation infrastructure where the trains and the interstates connect in a lot of cases to make it accessible, mobile, accessible, proximate, and time efficient so people can save time and attend church-related services and in an environment that's not with stained glass windows and a pulpit. But we meet in offices, we meet at Subway, we meet at Panera Bread. And we have state-of-the-art facilities that we can meet and show movies, etc. So we make it really accessible to the people that don't know the Lord. And that's our concept. A lot of churches are stealing members from other churches, and we want to reach people that don't know the Lord.
Right,
so
right.
On the book.
Right. See, that is interesting how you did that, because what you're basically doing is you're really taking the church outside the 4 walls and you're putting them in strategic positions around the D.C. area. That's what you're saying, right? And,
that is correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it gives people an opportunity to, to be able to get to a place where they normally wouldn't be able to get to a specific church. And now all of your churches, I know it's under the same doctrine and everything, but all these churches, they're connected, and they're called, are they called cell groups? Is that what you're talking about?
They are cell groups, yes.
Yes.
We take a cell group approach to our church, and we believe that the small group is the place where people in the church can really participate. They have a voice on Sunday morning. You're a captive audience. You can't say anything. And it's not a bad thing. It's just that you don't have an opportunity to give voice. But in the small group, people can comment, talk. They can lead the small group. You don't have to be a preacher. And they can use their gifts, their talents in the small group.
Right.
Let me ask a question. So basically what this is a setup structure for small groups, kind of the same way the mega churches are doing now, right? Because like you have some churches who have such a large such a large congregation that now they open up these small locations on the other side of town, and then they broadcast their service to this place. So like they could have this one church that may be in the center of Dallas, and then they put this small church in a suburb and they broadcast that service to that small broadcast, and then they've set it up in 3 or 4 different places, like sub churches per se. But except for you doing this in smaller groups, is it somewhat similar to that?
Well, it's similar and it's a little different. I think what you're talking about, Curly, is kind of what they call multi-site venues, where you have a church that kind of has several locations. Right. And they may have a pastor, but they may not. They may do a video venue there. broadcast the service, through video to that place. We do it differently in the sense that there's one church, but a lot of small groups. And these small groups are led by lay people. You don't have to be pastors. And what happens is, this gives the people who are sitting on the pew, we empower them because everyone's a minister. Everyone is able to contribute to the body of Christ. And then we bring these small groups together on Sunday morning all over the city for a celebration service or a Sunday morning worship. But we empower, we believe that the strength is not in the Sunday morning worship service. It's in the smaller group. And that's what we try to concentrate on. We have people who have come to our services that are agnostic. They don't believe in God. Some are Jewish. They really don't believe in Jesus. We have a lot of divorce care, grief share, recovery group, and they come to our small groups. And through that process, they're funneled into another small group and into the main Sunday morning worship service.
Wow. We're talking to Dr. Michael Donaldson right here on the Big Day Morning Show, and he's telling us a little bit about express lanes to the church community, small groups in big city. And Ms. Cherry, do you have any questions for Dr. Donaldson?
Yes. Okay, say if I wanted to do something like that here in Atlanta, what challenges do you have as far as getting facilities to accommodate these small groups in these different locations that you're talking about? Do you send someone out to scout buildings, or, how does that work?
And I talk about this in the book, how you can do it in your city as well. One of the things that I did, I think you have to go into a community wherever you're at. And we believe this can work anywhere in the United States, across the world, in major metropolitan cities, because we rely on the transportation infrastructure. So if there's transportation there, whether it's subways or buses, interstate systems, many businesses spring up around those venues. And so we believe the facilities are already there. Matter of fact, I have done an advanced look around the world, and we have places all over the world that we can identify right now that you can do this in. And that's one of the things that my company, Donaldson and Associates, we're going to be consulting with churches to do that. But what I did here in Washington, I came here with a vision from North Carolina. Actually, I didn't have all the details, but I went on obedience. And God just began to gradually unfold things. And what I did, I got on the subway system, rode 106.3 miles on all 5 lines of the Washington Metro Rail system, went to the airports, rode the interstates. And God kind of revealed it to me as I was just kind of riding around, and different things happened. And we were able to, we have right now 14 prime locations that we can use that are along the transportation infrastructure, not including restaurants and other venues. So this can be done anywhere. You just got to be creative, and you call it exegesis, which means to bring out of the text in the Bible. But you have to exegete your city. You need to go around and observe and look, where are the people congregating? How can I reach them in a non-conventional way? But it can be done there, Cherry, in Atlanta and anywhere else as well.
Okay.
That's real interesting. Now, I know one of the things that I have discussed with my pastor as well. We've discussed about having, we've discussed about having cell groups, right, in our church and expanding out, sort of like what you're talking about. But I know one of the major concerns with the African American community is that when you empower people to go out and, they do these different cell groups, that all of a sudden they want a pastor, and then they don't want to bring them back to the house. So what do you say about that?
Well, that is a real concern with a lot of communities, and I particularly am from the African American Community Church, so this is kind of antithetical to how I was raised,
Right.
But I see it really as an advantage rather than a disadvantage. What happens when you have a church split, generally, is that people who have gifts to use, they're not really allowed the opportunity to use them. So they're sitting on the pews, they get disgruntled in this sense. They say, I got to be about my Father's business. And that's what leads to this discontent and maybe other people starting a church. But I think in this concept, what happens is you're giving the people, you're empowering them, and there are checks and balances in the system that will negate, in general speaking, people from splitting from the church. You can't help, help from that happening occasionally, but there are checks and balances. I think it's a more powerful model and it's not our church, it's God's church anyway. So God is able to bless these people to grow, as long as we have a school of leaders to train people how to do this. And then we try to make it very relational, even in the larger setting. where on Sunday morning, the sermon that is given by the pastor, that is filtered down to the small group leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
They discuss that sermon throughout their weekly cell groups. So you have a continuity of flow in the message. People can discuss, what the pastor talked about.
Right.
And then they come back together. And even if you have several churches, you get together at least once a month. You have coaching with your cell leaders. So you have this overspill of influence if you're a senior pastor. And I think it works a lot better than the traditional model, personally. And it would deter people leaving your church.
Right. The book is called Express Lanes to Church Community, Small Groups, Big City. If people want to purchase this book, where should they go to?
Okay, the official book release date is August 28th, and it'll be available in all your major venues, Barnes & Nobles, Amazon.com, iTunes, Google Books. But now you can purchase it today directly from the publisher. And the publisher is Tate Publishing, and the website address is www.tatepublishing.com. And you can get the book in paperback, which is $17.99, and it comes with a free audio download of the book.
All right. Well, I know you are a busy man. Thank you, Dr. Michael A. Donaldson, for coming on the Big Day Morning Show. Once again, the book is Express Lanes to Church Community, Small Groups, Big City by Dr. Michael A. Donaldson. Make sure you go to Tate Publishing and make sure you check it out, because I think this is something that all the churches, every church needs to get this book.
Yeah,
they need to get this book.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
So thank you, Dr. Donaldson, for coming on the Big Day Morning Show.
Well, thank you, Daryl, Sherry, and Curly. God bless you, and bless the audience, too.
All right.
God bless you.
While you ride to work with the Big Day Morning Show.